Hey guys, I just wanted to go over some practice problems with you before you take your quiz. So hopefully you guys have printed these problems out and hopefully you've gone ahead and answered them and you're just coming on this video to check your work. That would be ideal for you. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do on the first one, it tells me to find the greatest common factor. So I know I can divide both 12 and 9 by 3. And since my leading coefficient is a negative, I want to factor out a -3. All right, the biggest group of x's I see in each one of them is only 1x because that's the biggest number of x's they all have in common. And then y squared is a group of y's they all have in common. So -12 divided by -3 is +4. There's 3 x's, I'm bringing out 1, there's 2 left. There's 5 x's, I'm bringing out 2, so there's 3 left. All right, then -9 divided by -3 is +3. X squared divided by x is x, and y squared divided by y squared is 1. And then finally, 12 divided by -3 is -4. So x divided by x is 1, and I had 3 y's. I brought out 2 y's, and I have 1 y left.
Jackson Belt, you can check out, please. Jackson Belt.
So after you factor, double check everything in the parentheses and make sure they don't all still have a common factor, and these don't. All right, so then just double check. If I distribute this to every term in the parentheses, will I get what I started with? And it looks like I would. Just double checking real quick. Yep. Okay, so then the second one, we're looking for 2 numbers that multiply to give me 24 and add to give me 11. So I'm going to think of those factors of 24, 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8. And since I get a positive product and a positive sum, that means both of my numbers are positive. All right, number 3, the first thing I'm going to do is see if there is any common factors between all 3 terms, and there's not. So since my leading coefficient is at 1, I'm going to do the AC method where I multiply 2 times -10, and I get -20. And then I want 2 numbers that multiply, give me -20, and add to give me -1. Think of all those factors, and it's -5 and +4, right? So I'm going to rewrite this, 2a squared minus 5a plus 4a minus 10. So in my first set of binomials, they don't have a common factor, so I'm going to bring out a +1. So 2a squared divided by 1 is 2a squared, and then -5b, because there's no common factors but 1. But then the second set, I can factor out a, where did I get a b? Did I just make that up? Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. Okay, let me go back. I just made up my own variable. Anyway, so this should have been -2a minus 5a plus 4a. All right, so anyway, now I do have a common factor in the first set. So I'm going to pull out an a, so I end up with 2a minus 5. And then the second group, I'm going to pull out a 2. A +2, so 4a divided by 2 is 2a, and -10 divided by 2 is -5. So then my 2 factors are, I'm going to put together what's outside the parentheses, a plus 2, and inside the parentheses I have 2a minus 5. All right, so then number 4, it says create a factorable polynomial with a greatest common factor of 6. Rewrite that polynomial in 2 other equivalent forms. All right, well, let's just think of something. Let's think of our multiples of 6. So we have 6 times 1 is 6, 6 times 2, 6 times 3, 6 times 4, 6 times 5. So I can use all of these multiples, right? So let's do 6x plus 12y squared. I'm just making things up. Minus 24 xy. All right. Well, I also made, it didn't say anything about different variables, but I actually made a, yeah, so 6 is going to be my greatest common factor, right? That's what they all have in common. So 6x divided by 6 is x. 12y squared divided by 6 is 2y squared. And then negative 24 divided by 6 would be negative 4xy. So that's the greatest common factor of 6, right? And it says rewrite that polynomial in two other equivalent forms. All right, well, there's one, and then I could think of another set of factors of 6. So why don't you guys try to come up with a different one, and you guys send me those polynomials, okay? I want you guys to think of a different polynomial that I wrote that has the greatest common factor of 6 and send it to me. Just Canvas inbox me, please. All right, but we're going to move on. All right, let's look at number 5. So number 5, I want to see what's the greatest common factor these both have. Well, I know they're both divisible. They're both divisible by 3 and x, right? Well, 9 divided by 3 is 3. X to the third divided by x is x squared. And then 30 divided by 3 is 10. And then x divided by x is 1. There we go. Number 6 says to factor by grouping. So since I have 4 terms, I'm going to go ahead and group them into 2 and 2. So it looks like both of these have an n squared I can divide out. So that would leave me with n, and then n squared divided by n squared is positive 1. And then the second one, I can factor out a negative 6. So negative 6n divided by negative 6 is n, and negative 6 divided by negative 6 is positive 1. So my parentheses match exactly. So that's one of my factors. And the other factor is n squared minus 6. All right, another factor by grouping. So let's see, what's my greatest common factor? I know I can divide them both by 2, both by 4, both by, is that it? 4? Oh, I think so. So 4x squared, right? So 5x to the third divided by 4x squared. Did I say 5? 20 divided by 4 is 5x. And then 48 divided by 4 is, what would that be? 12? 12. Yep, that's right. And then these almost match, right? But I need to factor out a negative 1. So I would have 5x plus 12. So those parentheses match. So one group is what's outside the parentheses, and one group is what is in the parentheses. All right, factor completely. So I have a trinomial. They don't have any common factor. So I'm going to think of two numbers that multiply to give me negative 50 and add to give me negative 23. Thinking all the factors of 50 would be 1 and 50, 2 and 25. Oh, that's it. 2 and 25. So my biggest number has to be a negative. So negative 25 times positive 2 gives me negative 50, and negative 25 plus 2 gives me negative 23. So that's it. And then the last one, first thing I want to do is see if they all have any common factors, and there aren't any. So I'm going to think of two numbers that multiply to give me negative 36 and add to give me 5. Now notice that this has a y squared, so we're also going to distribute that y just like we did the x, right? So the two numbers that give me negative 36 will be negative 9 and positive 9 and negative 4. The bigger number has to be positive, doesn't it? There we go. So 9 times -4 is -36, and 9 plus -4 is -5. And don't forget to distribute that y squared or whatever if you have 1 squared at the end. All right, you guys, I hope you did well. And good luck on your quiz, and make sure you send me your equivalent, your polynomial with the greatest common of 6 for number 4. Okay? All right, guys, I'll see you guys later.